Staying healthy is really important, and we know that there's physical health and mental health. But you know, just like you're going to the gym to become stronger, it's not just about being stronger, it's also about being more healthy and having your body just be in a better condition. And the same thing can be said for your mind. So things like puzzles or maybe chess or whatever, that's good for your mind, but reading is very good as well, because you need to follow the story, you need to translate the symbols to actual information, you need to process the information and think about it. So reading is a very useful process. But then there's also all the different kinds of books that there are, and all the information contained within those books, on top of the fact that you're reading. You know, so there's the fact that you're reading, and then there's what you're reading. And both of those aspects are useful for your mind, in my view. It depends on what you're reading, of course. If you're reading your grandma's cookie recipe, then the actual contents aren't going to be as useful. Also, thinking is very hard. Just thinking is not easy. And one thing I've noticed with journaling is that when I write down my thoughts, I now have much larger segments of thought that I can look back at and reflect on, but I can't keep all of that in my short-term memory when I'm just thinking something through. So writing about it really helps. But this also means that reading something is someone's very well thought out thoughts, but then a lot of it, an entire book worth of it. So that's really interesting on me. It gives you this insight into another person's mind and how they think and how they talk and speak and how you yourself could think. However, it's a struggle for me nonetheless, because reading requires a certain focus, and I guess I have the attention span of a millennial, which once upon a time sounded like you were really young, but now we're just the new adults. We're really weird. But the attention span can mean that holding on to that focus for a prolonged period of time can be hard. So if you're reading for like an hour, I'm just drained. I'm just mentally drained by the time I'm done reading for an hour, because I still need to train this a bit more, you know? I haven't read as much in the past few years. I preferred watching videos, which is why I'm doing this. I also dislike fiction. Not that there's anything wrong with fiction, and I've read like the Harry Potter books when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, but I generally have this urge to learn something. So even an autobiography or something, it's not an educative book, but it's non-fiction. So I don't know, I kind of like that a bit more. But this can also mean a book can be less engaging, because a fantasy world really well sparks your fantasy, and the non-fiction stuff can be a bit heavier to read. At least that's how I experience it. I'm not very literate, or I'm not very interested in literature. So probably I would have to read actual proper literature, and then it would be a lot heavier to read. But for now, it's just non-fiction. I just like learning things. So it's hard to read. Sometimes, at least, it depends on the book. Some books are very easy to read, but some are really hard to read. And it's hard to maintain my attention, my focus for a prolonged period of time. Meaning that reading can become very tiring, and I try to tackle this by just reading a small section of a book. Just like a page, 2 pages, 3 pages, just a few pages, and do that every day. Now, I haven't succeeded yet. I'm using a tracker. I made a video about that, but I haven't succeeded in actually reading every day for like a month. But I've read like 5 days a week for several weeks in a row, so that's something. So yeah, this is a struggle to me, and I'm wondering, for the millennials, do you struggle with the same thing? For the boomers and the Gen X people, do you recognize what I'm saying, or is reading completely different for you? Can you maybe read for like 2 hours on one end and just be okay, not be mentally drained? Just, that's fine, I just read something for 2 hours. So I'm just wondering how this works. So curious to see what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next time.